Good morning. Hello, Instagram. How are you doing? Come on in. I got my cup of tea, which will be breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So don't get jealous. Welcome, everybody. So, Instagram, you keep promising to find me more followers. So you do your thing. Good to see you, Tedgers. How are you doing? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. You're first in the house, so you get a salute for me. You might want to make yourself a cup of tea. Let's chat for 5 minutes. So, let me see. Let me give everybody 30 more seconds, and then we'll dive right in. Don't go anywhere, Tedgers. Do not go anywhere, except you're making yourself a cup of tea to come back. So, London's in lockdown. Good to see you, Mon. London's in tier 3. Well, not lockdown. We're back in tier 3. So while the gyms are still open, yeah, Monica, get yourself a cuppa. It's cuppa morning. So while the gyms are still open, the gym classes have been closed. And my routine, which I used to do, which I was going back to this week, I did yesterday, and then the news came down, was I drop my boys off at school. I go down to the gym, drop them for school for 9, go down to the gym for 9:30, do a class where a personal trainer tries to kill me legally. You know, it was it was legs, bombs, and tums the other day, and then I go on for the rest of the day, and then sometimes I go back and I do some lifting. But I'm home early because there are no more classes. So I wanna share something, and it's pretty much for my sermon on Sunday. So I preached at church on Sunday, Kingdom Culture Movement here in London, about production. 2021 for us in our ministry has been called by God the year of commissioning. In essence, it's the year where God is releasing us, sending us as individuals, but also as a people, to go fulfill the assignment for which we were born. So you might want to call it the year of release, but the word we heard was commissioning. And then I began to talk about an interesting part of being commissioned, of fulfilling destiny, which very many people don't get. And it's the ability to produce. So for instance, I'm drinking this lovely cup of tea. I make a good tea. You all need to know. The tea is, I make a mean cup of tea. And there's a tea bag in it. And it's in a ceramic mug and saucer. There is also a metal teaspoon that I'm using to stir you got to stir your tea before you drink it. And if you know what I mean, then you know. I'm not talking about real tea. And all three of them were produced. Good to see you, Esther. All three were produced. The ceramic mug, the tea inside. I don't know if you can see it. The tea inside. Mean tea I make. Excuse me. And the metal spoon. This is made from stainless steel. So it started out as raw iron ore in the earth. Dirty, ugly. This started off as clay, red soil. Red sandy stuff, or red soily stuff. And the tea started out as a leaf. Each of them, thank you, Monica, each of them costs very little. Very, very little. Somebody took the time to smelt the ore, add some carbon to it, and make steel, and then fashion it into a spoon. Somebody took the time to pluck the tea leaves, grind them, good to see you, Pastor Aya, grind them, and make a tea bag. And someone took the time to get dirty in the clay to make a mug. That's what we call production. Too many people are creators or creatives, but they don't know how to produce. And to produce means to take something, refine it, brand it, tailor it, and place it. So you make it, right? You refine it. Good to see you, Dami. You package it, you brand it, and you place it. And by placement, I mean you put it somewhere, you place it physically somewhere where it's needed, or you place it at a price point or in a market area where it's desirable. See, the world doesn't reward creatives. Some of the greatest singers I've ever heard were on the tube or in the tube station. Are y'all listening to me? Some of the greatest rappers I ever heard were on the street corner. Some of the greatest painters I've ever seen, have been painting murals on walls in the hood. Some of the greatest speakers I've ever heard were arguing with me on a phone or talking in a bus or something. Good to see you, Debs. The world doesn't reward creatives. It rewards producers. Your income, your value, your influence, and especially as a Christian, of the three, it's the influence that's the most important. As a believer, you shouldn't be driven by income, although money is important. Don't let anybody convince you as a Christian that because money is the root of all evil, they can abuse your gift, they can dishonor your skill, your time, and your effort, and not compensate you. It's a different case if they can't afford it and you are doing it out of the kindness of your heart. You believe in what they're doing. You believe in their vision. You want to be a blessing. But don't let anybody guilt trip you about writing out an invoice for what you're worth. However, as a believer, more important than income is influence. The ability for your voice to hold weight in the world around you. The ability for people to take their cue on how to live, how to act, how to decide based on what they see or hear you do. You don't get an income and you don't get influence just because you can create. And you're looking in the eyes at a man who's learned this lesson the hard way. I must have preached somewhere in the region of 5,000 to 10,000 sermons in the last 20 years. And I'm not exaggerating. Or maybe I am actually. Let me do the math. So in the last 12 years, I've preached an average of 3 times a week. What's 12 times? Yeah. 12 times 52 is, let's call it 50. It's 500. Let's call it 10 times. So that's 500. 500 times 3 is 1.5. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating, but somewhere approaching 5,000. Let's somewhere close to 5,000. And if you add every single counseling session, if you add every single time I've shared the word, evangelized on the street, chopped up scripture with a friend, advised a parishioner, we're going to at least 5,000 times I have spoken the word of God. Well, I got one book. Shameless plug. I got it here. Let me move this out the way. This wasn't planned, but in 20 years of preaching, I've only produced one book. Look at that. Olumide Isiavwe, Metamorphosis. You might want to get a copy of it. Sadly, you can't find it on Amazon because I never put it there. See what I'm talking about? I published it, I printed copies of it, I sold it where I went, never took the time to place it in a place where people could find it. But like I said, this is all that I've produced in 20 years. You can order by sending an email or by sending me a DM in the comment section. Thanks for that, Monica. But that's all I produced in 20 years of preaching. So I have created thousands of sermons. I have created thousands of biblical blessing, but I have only produced one book. And so, if I were to die today, the world only has one product from me. Which is sad. But as I began to chew on this for myself, as God began to speak to me about what to do with my 2021, I felt the need to share it with the world. If necessary, create less so you can produce more. Are you all hearing me? If necessary. Good to see you, Blossom. Good to see you, Vanessa. I'm not saying you should, but if necessary, create less so you can spend more time refining and packaging and branding and placing what you have created. So it creates you an income, but more importantly, as a believer, it creates you influence. Tea farmers are usually poor. Tea producers, the guys who produce the tea bags that we buy, are usually rich. Iron ore miners are usually poor. Steel companies are rich. Are you hearing me? Vocal coaches generally make a lot less money than the singers they coach if they go on to become stars. Because the world isn't paying for raw material. And I've got Esther here, I've got Monica here. You guys, let me share something that will excite you moving on for next year with Israel Keys Wealth. We've been on a break the last few weeks. Guys, and I had a light bulb moment. People don't pay to learn how to invest. People don't pay to learn to trade. No. People pay to make money. And so, you need to package the product of how to trade in a product that itself sells the end game. Nobody's paying for loads of information. People are paying for what the information can do. And so your branding, your packaging, and even your approach has to change. And the world has and this is what the corporate world has done. It started with trying to keep its employees under control, but now it's become a global culture. Like I said, they started with trying to keep employees in control, but now it's a global culture. They want you busy enough to create, but never with enough time to produce. Why? Because they want to do the production for you and sell you back what you created at a premium. And if you're going to be great, if you're going to walk in your commissioning from heaven this year, whether it's in ministry, in a career, even in a family, you can create a child. Can you produce a responsible adult? You can create with a wedding. Can you produce a godly marriage? Does that make sense? Whether it's career, ministry, business, family, fight for the space of mind. It may mean being cutthroat, ruthless with your schedule. It may mean not having time for people who don't add value to you, who just take from you. It may mean creating less. So, if you're the kind of person like me, I write a song a week. The ones I sing in church are like 1 out of 10. I write a new song, at least a new song a week. And so in 2021, my plan is to stop writing new songs until I produce some of the ones I've done. Get in the studio, get a few backup singers, a few instrumentalists, right? And put that song in a format that can actually bless the world. I can't play you my tape recorder on my phone. But I can play it to you. But if I just stock the tape recorder, I wake up in the morning and my voice is hoarse and God gives me a song and I put the melody down. I can't just take that melody and put it on YouTube or on Spotify, which is what many of us try to do. And that's why we're frustrated when people who we know, or we think, I should say, because many times we're wrong, but people who we think ain't got nothing on us seem to be doing so much better than us, it's because they know how to produce and we don't. Doesn't matter how great your voice sounds. You're not putting your voice note on your voice recorder on YouTube and the world is watching it 35 million times. But if you take that voice recorder into a studio and arrange the melody and the harmonies and the backing track and the cues, put a nice guitar lick to it, get a nice high quality and of course it costs time, it costs money, it costs stress. And that's why most people don't like to produce. They like to work hard, but they don't like to work focused. Anybody can work hard. It's easy to work hard. Yeah. I mean, just start walking. If I just got up and I started walking till my legs gave out on me, I could be on the phone, I could be talking, I'm working hard. I could be digging a ditch while I have earphones in. But the difficult bit is focusing hard work into creating a specific, predetermined, measurable product. It takes your focus, it takes your mind, it takes creativity, it takes discipline. I read a book a few years ago called Deep Work. The ability to shut everything out and focus at a task at hand. That's difficult because it takes mental power. It leaves you both physically and mentally drained. Oh, but it's so rewarding. And so make up your mind with me. Like the book of Proverbs says, the slothful man doesn't roast what he caught while he was hunting. Slothful doesn't mean he was lazy and that he didn't do anything. It meant he was scattered and not focused. He was not able to disciplinedly commit to a course of action. It then says that the substance of the diligent is precious. When a diligent person creates something, the value is high. 1 extra hour is the difference between a C+ thesis or paper and an A+ one. Why? You correct the mistakes and you edit your syntax. An extra hour. You spend 10 hours typing. Can you take that extra hour to produce something quality? 2 extra hours in practice is the difference between a great concert and an okay one. Can you take the extra hour, the extra time, the extra money, the extra mind presence to produce, not just create, to take what God has birthed through you and, like they say where I come from, and tush it up. And maybe I'll come on tomorrow. No, actually tomorrow. Oh, you don't want to miss tomorrow. I'll probably have to come back and finish this thought on Thursday. Go look at my Instagram right now. Tomorrow at Kingdom in Motion, every 1 p.m. on a Wednesday, I'm live on a broadcast. We're building a media house gradually with a show called Kingdom in Motion, where we discuss real life things from a kingdom perspective. Tomorrow is going to be, tables are going to be shaken, shook. They will be shooketh. We're discussing LGBTQ, modern sexuality, and the church. We're going to talk about about lesbianism, gayness, transgenderism, LGBT, bisexuality, queerness, plus the whole soup of the alphabet, everything, where the church stands on it, because they're here among us and they are human beings. Many of them are Christians. Many of them love Jesus. Are you hearing me? Some of them are your pastors, your worship leaders, the usher who shook your hand when you came into church. Yes. And we can't ignore this anymore. We can't just tell them they're going to hell. We can't just throw scripture at them. We need to have a conversation. Where does the church stand on the LGBTQ community? And what's the balance between disagreeing with a lifestyle and dehumanizing a human being? Because they too are the image of God. We're going to talk about things like conversion therapy. Does it work? Is it scriptural? Is it biblical? The questions of can someone be born gay We're going to address that and how it works. I've had the privilege of being around a couple people like that. Some have some have done me the honor of confiding in me. I've prayed, I've talked with them, I've prayed, I've made my research discoveries. So yeah, we're going to talk about it. Is homosexual sex more of a sin than unmarried heterosexual sex? Is it the unforgivable? We gonna get down in this thing tomorrow, 1 p.m. So set your diaries for it. You can go to YouTube right now, the Cherub Messenger. Subscribe if you haven't already to the channel. Set a reminder so that you know when the show is live and when all our other shows are live. I always stick these Instagram lives. I always stick them on YouTube when I'm done with them. So you can go there and watch them as well, or you can watch them here on Instagram. Either or. Like, share, subscribe. So I'll finish this production thought on Thursday at roughly about this same time. I'm thinking maybe we can make it a date. So roughly, once my gym classes start again, I won't be free at 9:30. But anyway, we'll figure it out. Maybe we can make it a regular time on Instagram, the same way we have a regular time on the shows on YouTube. Love you guys. Take care. Get ready for 2021 and get ready to produce. All right? Take care. Bye-bye.